Hi, I'm Justin Thames, Director of Governmental Affairs for the Florida Institute of CPAs. And welcome to this week's edition of Impact Report, your weekly update on all things impacting the CPA profession here in Tallahassee. We're at that point in the legislative session where we're starting to see things come together. Some things are continuing to move forward, but a lot of the issues are starting to fade away as we reach the end of the session. One thing in particular that we saw happen this week was the financial literacy bill had essentially a rebirth this week. We told you last week that it looked like it was dead and buried for the legislative session, and all of a sudden this week we had a revival, and Senator Hudson was able to amend that language onto another bill. Now, not necessarily all the same provisions, but we still may yet see a financial literacy bill pass this legislative session, which would be a good thing. We've supported that initiative for the last couple of years, so we're very hopeful that they'll be able to find a way to get it across the finish line this year. Another provision that we saw pop up this week was the annual piggyback bill for the corporate income tax and for the federal tax code. It generally is a pretty routine function for the state legislature to piggyback onto the federal tax code. Sometimes we see some variations, and this year we've seen at the state level there's been included in the bill an automatic mechanism for automatic refund and also rate reduction based on net collections. This is going to be in the bill for probably the next 2 fiscal years. That provision will be in the law, so you'll be able to plan for that. Also, in the piggyback bill, we saw the state is going to decouple from the GILTI provisions within the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So those are some things that you might want to read up on in our bill tracker. We've included that information for you if that's something that you're interested in. Next, I want to let you know about another big issue that we've been following is the dereg bill continued to move through the Senate, as I mentioned last week. It passed the last committee stop in the Senate for Appropriations Committee this week. We still saw some more changes. Senator Albritton has basically told everybody that he wants to make some changes to the bill where it makes sense. Now, the House has taken a different position. Those two bills are somewhat far apart. We'll see what comes out in the final product, especially since that's one of the governor's highest priorities for the session. I know that both the House and the Senate want to try to find a way to get that law passed for the governor, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll keep you posted on that next week because there'll be both bills will be up over on the Senate side, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes made one way or another. Another provision, just to give real quick, to give you some quick updates, the budget will continue to be negotiated next week. We look to see both the House and the Senate go into a conference to hash out the differences between both of their proposals. That'll last for a couple more days, and then the week after we'll probably see them try to reach an agreement on the final budget as we head into the last couple days of the legislative session. The sales tax on services bill that we talked to you about early on in the year never got a hearing, which we told you that we're very hopeful that there wouldn't even be a hearing for that bill. It hasn't, but we continue to look for any amendments where that language could be stuck onto another bill for the next couple days. Lastly, I'd like to remind everybody, if you're in the Orlando area on April 24th, make sure you come see us at our town hall meeting. That information is also included in this week's Impact Report. It should be a great event. Deborah Curry will be there and Bob O'Malley from Brightline Trains giving you an update on transportation in the Orlando area. As always, I'd like to say thank you so much to everybody for all your support during the legislative session and throughout the year. If you ever need anything from the Governmental Affairs Department, please email us at govaffairs@ficpa.org, and we'll look forward to talking with you next week.